This is on Thacker and werewolf movies. We've all seen at least one werewolf movie in our time, because there are just so many of them. And this year we've got another one, Werewolves. Starring Frank Grillo, Werewolves takes place 1 year after a supermoon causes an event where anyone stepped out into the moonlight turns into a werewolf. The same supermoon is about to come out again. A group of scientists come together to try to find a cure before the sun rises, while also surviving the night. Basically The Purge, but with werewolves. This is one of those movies that was announced, I heard about it, and I thought, I'm watching that. It just had fun. Not great, just fun. So now you've seen Werewolves, it's pretty good. Don't go into this movie expecting it to be really good, because it's not. But it is really fun. And thankfully, it's a fun movie that's actually good. This is such a unique concept, and it makes great use of it. I feel like this could be one of those movies that has a great concept, but doesn't use it to its fullest potential. But I do think it uses the concept to its fullest potential, at least what I can do with the budget. This is obviously a lower budget movie. I actually can't find this movie's exact budget, but I would imagine it's definitely on the lower side. But the low budget doesn't cripple this film. This isn't like Carved, where the budget was so low, they couldn't really do anything. This really does a lot. It just looks sometimes low budget. But even with a lower budget, the werewolves themselves still look pretty good. The werewolves in this movie are almost entirely practical. The movie uses CGI very sparingly, mainly when it comes to the werewolf transformations, which are pretty solid. That's a big staple of werewolf movies, and I think they were pretty solid in this. But the werewolves are almost entirely costumes, with some mechanical parts in the face. And sometimes you can tell, that's a guy in a suit. But the movie is very smart at getting the werewolves in just the right lighting, to where sometimes they look really good. And even if sometimes they look a little fake, to me that just adds more flavor to the movie. And the werewolves themselves are made by the same people who make the xenomorphs for the Alien movies. That explains why they look so darn good. And they also get unique with some of the werewolf designs. They're not just copy-paste. Some werewolves have piercings, face paint, dyed hair. We get to see some personality shine through some of the werewolves. Stuff that's just not done very often in other werewolf movies. So for that alone, I appreciate it. This movie feels like a movie that would have been made in the 80s. And I mean that as a big positive, at least for me. This movie also has some pretty good horror, especially when it comes to suspense. This movie has some really good suspense. There are also some frightening scenes when it comes to the werewolves. They're presented really good, actually scary. It also has a decent bit of gore. Nothing crazy, but a fine amount of gore. And the end of this movie is pretty bonkers. And again, I mean that in a good way. Just how you would want a movie like this to end. Although I would maybe like a few more minutes, just to see the story kind of wrap up more nicely, because it does just kind of end. This movie also has some pretty decent action. Nothing that blew me away, but it nicely complements the horror. The characters are also generally good. The acting was solid, the characters are enjoyable, I liked them, I was invested in them, I want to see them survive and succeed. Overall, I really liked Werewolves. If you just want to have a fun time, then I recommend it. Also, if you've enjoyed this video, thanks for liking and subscribing, and join the subreddit and the Discord server. Bye guys for now! Bye, Thacker.